Welcome back to How to Think in Chess. In this series, we teach beginners how to think in the game of chess, what habits to do, and I'll be pointing out the mistakes that my opponents are making and the key processes in which I think. So, obviously, this is the opening. You can go for e5 or you can go for the Caro-Kann. I'm gonna switch things up now since I have been playing e5 for a long time. So now opponent is playing a dubious line. It's not the best line. Okay, already our opponent has made a big mistake. Is that he played this move in under a second, which means that he is not even thinking about what I can do myself. And funny enough, I can capture because there is no piece that is protecting that square. And now he's in dangerous territory because he's only moving his pawns. So the habit you need to form once you are around this rating is you need to stop pushing pawns and you need to start developing your minor pieces. That is what will help you to start an attack. But at the moment now, our opponent is only moving the pawns and I'll be developing my pieces now, and that will lead to me having an easier way to attack the king. Now, he pushes the pawn twice, and obviously there is en passant, which I can take. Now, the only question is taking a good move? Yes or no? In my opinion, taking right now is bad. Why? If I capture this pawn, he can capture with his bishop. So I've already helped my opponent to develop a piece. And also, what is this pawn doing in this position? This pawn right now is stopping this knight from ever going to f3. So it is very, very strong. And white is not so comfortable right now. So what I can just do now is, instead of taking, I'm going to develop my bishop, attacking the queen, so that I can be able to develop my other pieces. Now that the bishop comes out, we can capture, and you can capture with the knight or with the queen. Obviously, capturing with the queen would have been the best move. Why? Because if he captured with the knight, he would be protecting this pawn twice. But now he has moved his queen out of the line, and now he's attacking my pawn, but at the same time, he has left his pawn undefended. So now it's not a good time for me to develop a piece because I can capture and there are no risks involved. So I'll just capture this. He cannot bring out his bishop as well. And as you can remember, he cannot bring out his knight. Now, he is attacking my queen. Which square do you think is the best to put a queen in? We can take it back to d8. It's not bad. But in my opinion, from what I've learned, is that a queen in the center is the most powerful. So if we put our queen here, now our opponent can attack us once more. But if you put our queen here in the center of the board, our opponent cannot do anything. So now I'm gonna put it here. Why? Because I am hoping this is what this is what lower rated players normally do. I'm trying to show you right now is you hope that your opponent will not see the move. So I'm hoping to push this pawn so that I can get the rook. But now let's show you something. I'm going to hope, but now as you see, my hoping is not gonna help me because my opponent can play the correct move at this instance, which is knight there, blocking my queen, or even the queen there. And now my hope has allowed me to get a free rook now. But when you want to improve in chess, playing hope chess will not always work because this only worked because I'm playing against a lower rated opponent. If I was now playing against, let's say, a 2000 ELO, I would already be suffering now because I've allowed him to bring out his knight. I've allowed him to play all sorts of maneuvers against me. But one more thing I have to let you guys understand is our opponent is still pushing their pawns. They have not developed a knight. They have not tried to castle. Only thing they're focusing on right now is pushing their pawns. And I'm sure you're saying, "Hey, Emmanuel, the h4 pawn is hanging. Why don't you take it?" Well, there's an issue now. Is that if I take the h4 pawn, the bishop can go and cover up the check, and now I have two pieces that are under attack, and there is no way for me to protect them both at once. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put my knight in the center of the board. Knights in the center are the best because they control a lot of squares. Obviously, those let's remove that. So now I've removed my knight. I can now come and capture. It's all about being patient. The difference between higher rated opponents and lower rated opponents is the fact that um, higher rated opponents are more patient. If you watch Grandmaster games, you'll see that they don't go for quick attacks. They first develop the piece, play principled moves. So now our opponent is attacking our knight. It is not good now to capture because it will be the same thing, bishop to f2, and then now we have two pieces under attack. So what we should do first is we should remove the bishop, capture it. Now once the queen captures back, now we can go for a check. And now if the queen blocks, what is the best move? We want to exchange. Why? Because as you can see here, I have +7 material advantage. So that means that I now have more pieces than my opponents. So that is what will help me to win the game in the end game. That's how you should play chess. You should play chess slowly in order to build in order to get an advantage for the end game so that now you can be able to win. Now, I want to develop my bishop. Why? Because this king is on a dark square. So if I push my pawn, not two squares because it won't be protected, but one square because there's nothing the queen can do except pushing here, which is a very good move in my opinion. Pushing is a good move. So now our opponent has finally they finally developed the first piece. And now I don't want to give a check because if I give a check, I'm giving my opponent an opportunity to develop that piece while my queen is not doing anything. So that's why I'm not giving the check in this position. I'm just going to develop another piece. And as you can see now, this knight and this bishop are both controlling this square, as you can see over there. So now that is my target to bring my bishop over there. But now our opponent has stopped that because now if we bring our bishop all the way to c5, our opponent can just capture it with the bishop, and that's not what we want. So we have to capture the pawn because it is unprotected at the moment. Our opponent might be looking at this type of line to attack this pawn, but I'm not too concerned about it at the moment because I can always bring my queen back. I can always say check. I have a variety of ways, but instead of capturing, I want to have a more active position. I know that I know that taking now would be good, but the issue is that I don't like it. It's not a matter of I know I can take, but I want to attack the queen. But now actually let me take this as an opportunity to show you how I think now because I'm not fully sure of what to do in this position. So if I take, one of two things can happen. The queen can take or the king can take. If the queen takes, this is under attack, but this is no longer safe, as you can see. But if I take and the king takes now, I can bring my knight over here, and if ever he pushes his pawn, I can fork him. So you know what? I think I will take. So now we know that the queen takes is bad because this pawn will be hanging. So king takes is good. Now we are going to bring our knight here, stopping this rook from ever capturing our pawn. And we're enticing white, hoping, as you may think, that white pushes this pawn. Although I'm not an advocate for hope chess, but I just want to let you know that it does help a lot. Okay, now opponent has played a very interesting move and they've played the king back. Now I am in a predicament now. Should I capture the pawn which is undefended or should I castle? Well, if you said capture the pawn, you are correct because now we are getting even more time because we are attacking the queen. And if the queen is to go to a square like this, we can always return our knight back. We have a nice fork over there. As you can see, this knight will be attacking the king and the rook on that square, which is very good for our position. Now, instead of going back, we can push our pawn forward. Now, as you can see now, I've only pushed the pawn in this stage of the game. Why? Because I want to protect my knight, which is in danger. So now, as you saw, White's last move was attacking our knight. We have to move our queen. Where is the best way to move our queen? This pawn is hanging. We have a check. So I would like. I don't even care about the pawn too much at the moment, because I feel like checking if the queen or the knight blocks, we can capture or something like that. But now I've just realized I think taking the pawn is simple because when I look at the check right now, I don't see what more I can get from the position. So I'll just happily capture the pawn and continue the game. Now, obviously, I would love to play this rook here. I would love to castle. Only issue that our opponent has been rushing so much. And our opponent is actually threatening something. It's actually threatening check. Once we go in there, check, take, and then they take our rook as our king will have to go up. So what we can do now is we can just castle, and now we are totally safe from the king, from the threat of check over here. And mind you, this queen cannot move anyhow because at the moment, oh, I missed the tactic even. Wow, look at that. I missed the tactic because I was rushing. Um, this is the tactic. Check, because now this queen is protecting, this knight is protected by the queen, so it's attacking the rook and the king. So these are tactics which we lower rated players normally miss. I'm 2100, but even I miss tactics if I'm not concentrating. Now let's play a bit quickly. Let's go for the check. We're gonna be getting one of these pieces, and we don't have to be scared of this too much because if the pawn takes, we can always just bring our king to h8. And this pawn, funny enough, is actually protecting our king because white can never go past their own pawn. And now they're gonna lose a rook. They'll be behind in material. And if they take with the king now, that is one of the biggest mistakes we can ever make because there's another tactic called a pin where now I bring my rook all the way to d8 and it's pinning the queen to the king. So this queen cannot move out of that line. It has to protect the king. So now our opponent has captured our rook. We capture with the check and we'll be getting checkmate in a couple of moves now, depending on what our opponent plays. So now I'm just going to check. I want to check. Let me see, how can I do this? What is the best way to finish this game? Um, okay, let's check. Okay, um, let's check our opponent and then let's come here. We want to attack this knight or make it move out of the way because it's the only piece that's protecting the king at the moment. So I don't mind this check too much. Okay, now that's good. Now we can check once more. Now we will get a ladder to checkmate our opponent. We say check with our rook. The king is forced here. And now we do a ladder where the rook and the queen go one after the other. So now the queen will go up, check. The queen is protecting the rook. The king is forced down, in which we can deliver the final mate with our rook. And now let's move on to the last game of this video. We are white. Let us begin with a common opening, e4. Everyone plays e4, so this will be very good. Our opponent is playing the French defense. We will just play the normal variation, pushing, taking the center. And now already our opponent has gone far. He has checked us. And we can bring out our bishop or we can block. Now, pushing the pawn gets us a tempo. The only disadvantage would be now that we cannot develop our knight in the center of the board. But at the end of the day, we get a big strong center, and that is fine with me. Now, if he goes back now, I can actually make a trap. And as you can see now, I am like throwing all the rules away because our opponent needs to be careful with this trap because if our opponent does not make room for his bishop right now, on the very next move, he will get trapped. So now this knight is attacking this pawn. Understand? I can just ignore that and go for the bishop, but I am very selfish and I want to make sure my opponent does not have any chances in the game. So I'm just going to do, I'm going to push another pawn yet again, letting this knight come here, and now I'm going to push over here, in which he has to sacrifice his piece for the bishop. And that is not bad because I'll be getting a major piece. So the only reason I pushed pawns in this opening, as you can see, was because black did not play the opening properly. And now black missed a tactic here. They should have taken with the knight at least. Why don't they should have taken with the knight so that they should have taken with the knight. Let's go back. They should have taken with the knight so that once I capture back with my pawn, it is a check and they get 2 pawns for 1 piece, which is not bad in my opinion. But now he played the worst move because now the bishop is trapped and he'll be losing one. He'll be exchanging. He'll be getting 1 pawn for 1 major piece, and that is very bad. So now, as you can see, opening principles were broken, and our opponent does another mistake now and sacrifices his knight because this pawn is protected not only by this pawn but also by the queen. So we can capture this, and now we're gonna get 2 pieces instead of 1 because our opponent was not observant of the pieces that were protecting the pawn on that line. So now our opponent is going for this, which is not a bad move. I can protect myself in this at these times. I need to castle. I need to make sure that I'm solid. So I'm just going to bring out my knight because knights before bishops. Oh, but I just noticed as well, this knight can come out and attack my queen. So if I play the move like this now, this knight comes out here and now I am in trouble. So in order to restrict my opponent from having too much fun, I am going to push the pawn. Why? Because I'm stopping my opponent from ever developing his knight. And now I know it is the exact opposite of what I explained in the last game about moving pawns. But when you understand the rules, you know when to break them. And now in this case, our opponent already made a big mistake by bringing out his bishop so early because we get a tempo by attacking him with this pawn. And when he went back now, we could have developed normally, but we set a little trap because we know that the bishop can go there, but we will be getting him with a chain. And what did our opponent do? They brought out the knight. Now, attacking our pawn. So we played yet another pawn move because we don't want to lose our pawn. And now when he came here now, we played another pawn move, but it was with an intention to attack the bishop. And when the bishop went back, we played another pawn move to attack the bishop and trap it in the corner. And now we played another pawn move to capture the knight. And then we finally captured with the queen and restricted our opponent from ever developing that knight, in which he has to play a pawn break to bring it out. Now, I'm going to develop my bishop to a3. It is not really a fork in my opinion because he has to come here, take, and then now we get a good move now. So already we are going to be up in material. I'm going to capture. Once this pawn captures back, now we can capture with the bishop. But the issue is, if we capture with the bishop right now, the queen can come here. Okay, let me show you. If we capture the bishop, this is bad because now our bishop will be pinned to the queen and we will not be able to get the fork, if you understand what I'm saying. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to capture with my queen instead so that there's no pin. And if this queen goes anywhere out, I can still capture the rook because my bishop is protecting my queen. So now he is forced to capture the queen. If he doesn't capture the queen, if he says no or goes all the way to e8, that is a very big mistake. Okay, our opponent finds the right move. And now this move is really good as it attacks our bishop. So now I don't want to exchange my bishop for this knight because my bishop is very active and his knight is gonna find it difficult to um develop. So what I'm just going to do instead, I'm going to bring my bishop all the way back, develop my minor pieces and castle, as now we have finished with tactics. Now this suit is attacking the pawn, but I'm not too worried about that There's one of two good moves. There's this move which is very good, but the only issue is that now the rook will attack our knight. So instead of that, I will first play this move because I don't want to give my opponent tempo. And as you can see, we have allowed our opponent to capture b5 because he did not see that there was a bishop all the way in the corner. So now we can capture back the rook and we are ahead in material. Our opponent needs to make room for back rank because now I'm planning on castling. I'm planning on bringing my rook all the way to d1 and checkmate. Okay, so we have finally gotten to 700. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe. It will really mean a lot to me as I'm trying to make sure that you beginners get to my level, which is 2100 or 2000 ELO. That will be a dream for all of us. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.